The story began with a little horse called Thelma singing and dancing alongside her friends as they host a concert. However, during this, Thelma introduces us to her best friend Otis and also the drummer, who is Reggie, and they are all called the Rusty Buckets. Just then, we then found out that all this was just playing through their imagination. Meanwhile, they began to discuss about making it big, as Reggie informed them that he believes whatever they performed at the stage wouldn't be enough to convince the judges at the audition. He then went on giving his friends his idea on how to kill the show tomorrow by making use of some pyrotechnics. Just then, he gave one to his friends, which eventually exploded. In the next scene, Thelma seems to be very excited about her coming show, as she told her friend it's been way too long they have been trying to make it big. It's been 10 years since they've been trying. Otis, Thelma's friend, then asked if she's been working on her old lyrics. Thelma then told him she has stopped working on them since she was a kid. Just as they walked, they then came across a musical ads to which they watched. Thelma admires then female artists, as she also believed it would be them in a few years to come. Just they discuss, Thelma is needed urgently to dispose the waste from the cow. As she does so, she then tripped, making the whole waste fall on her. Just then, she met some individuals who made fun of her about the whole situation. One of those bullying her is named Zirconia, as she told Thelma that nobody on Earth would want to listen to a music coming from a plain old farm pony, as she looks disgusting, which Zirconia and her crew has all the looks and all it takes. Thelma throws shades at Zirconia too, as she told her she at least doesn't have a pink eyes, which makes Zirconia really mad. The next day, we see as many crew begin performing to the judge. Meanwhile, Thelma at the hands is terrified about not performing up to others' level. However, they introduced Thelma crew, but as she tried introducing herself and her friends, the judges then insisted that she leave the stage with her crew. Thelma asked them why, as they didn't even get the chance to perform their song. Immediately, one of the judges then told her that there isn't any future in their crew. Thelma laments, saying she has wasted years practicing for this day. They told her they need something special to perform on that stage. Just as Thelma goes to confront them, she falls, destroying the whole stage setting. The scene then switches to a restaurant as we see Thelma watching all the memes from her fall. Her friends then came over to cheer her up. They told her not to think about what the judges said, and just then, Otis tells her that he thinks she's perfect. The next day, we see as Thelma is doing her job and also depressed at the same time. Meanwhile, as she continued her work, she then came across a carrot, which she puts on her head in form of a horn. The scene then switches to a guy driving his truck and at the same time eating and watching funny videos. Just as he did so, he then entered a porthole, making him spill paint all over Thelma's body. Otis advised her to go check herself. Just then she realized that she's a unicorn. But Otis then told her it's a fake, but she doesn't care as she proceeded to taking pictures, while some travelers saw this and are happy that they finally saw a unicorn. Thelma then decided to play along as she doesn't want to disappoint a little girl. Just then many individuals began showing up as they asked her many questions. They asked if she could do anything magical, and she replied yes, as she can sing. Thelma, Otis, and Reggie then began performing as the whole crowd loved her voice. Even Otis is surprised by Thelma's voice, as they then went viral for that song she did. Otis told Thelma that their performance was insane, and also demanded they wash Thelma off the paint. She then insisted that she isn't doing so, as she's finally special now. She eventually convinced Otis, as she told him that people are eventually giving their music a chance. Immediately, Thelma found out that she's now viral. The scene then switches to Megan, who's the personal assistant to the most popular artists in their country. Megan then informed Nikki, the famous artist, about her schedule. They informed Nikki about her music not doing so well as before, as her recent release is now ranking 12th, not even top 10. She's also get informed by her manager that her fame is on life support, and if they don't get some kind of jolt soon, her career will be dead. Just as Thelma played a game with Otis, they then heard a loud music playing and decided to check it out, only for them to find Reggie and Peggy Purvis, one of the legendary music producers, on their practice stage. They both discussed about the song Thelma sang, as Peggy hasn't heard of such before. She'd also proposed they work together as they could be making an album together. She then took them all to the studio to start cooking music. Meanwhile, Vic Diamond, the manager of the famous musician Nikki, then contacted Peggy as regards Thelma and her crew, but Peggy refused the offer at first, but when she asked Thelma, she then saw how Thelma was excited about this and accepted the offer. They all flew on Nikki's private jet to Las Vegas. Just as they ride on their cars, Vic Diamond then decided to destroy Peggy's vehicle and then ride off with only Thelma. Nikki is furious by her manager's decision to bring Thelma to her live show just to promote her music. Thelma is then introduced to the whole crowd as she will be singing to them. Just then she realized her band crew isn't with her. She immediately told Vic that she can't perform without them. Vic then told her that he thinks they have abandoned her, but Thelma is sure they can't do such. Vic then asked if she wanted him to cancel the show. Thelma said no, that the show must go on. She then proceeded to performing, and many loves her performance. But Nikki's assistant isn't happy with Vic, as those fireworks, which she's using on Thelma, was meant for Nikki. Just as Petty, Otis, and Reggie got to the venue, they are informed that they got to the event very late, as Thelma already performed. This surprised them all. Vic Diamond then resigned from working with Nikki, as he informed her that he's done with her. Just then, Nikki appears as she began attacking Thelma to leave her stage. Nikki began performing her music, but then the audience began demanding for Thelma, while everything eventually became a disaster. Vic Diamond tells Thelma that working with him will guarantee her a lot of musical awards someday. Thelma asked if her band could come with her, and he replied yes before offering Thelma a contract to work with him instead of Peggy. Thelma then signed the contract. Just as Thelma was on her way home, she found Otis. Otis then asked why she performed without them. She told them that they abandoned her, but after Otis narrated the whole story about how their car was blew up by Vic, Thelma didn't believe any of what he said. Nikki is very furious, as she planned to destroy Thelma with her assistant by finding out Thelma's dirty secrets. Meanwhile, Thelma tells Vic that she isn't a real unicorn, but just then Vic told her that he doesn't care about that. Vic then took Thelma for a makeover. Vic Diamond also introduced Thelma to another celebrity just to boost her fame more. The scene then switches to a different story, as it seemed Otis is the hero in his story. Reggie and Peggy informed Otis that Thelma already got a new bandmate who is known as Thelma Stanicorn. Just then, Vic introduced Thelma to the lyrics room, where we find out that at a place where an AI machine generates all the hit song. Thelma is disappointed by this. Meanwhile, after their release, they eventually hit top 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Thelma is now more famous as ever. We then saw Nikki's assistant as she paid some gangs to destroy Thelma's events. Just then she sees Reggie, as he begs her to sign an autograph for him even with Otis. They congratulate her on her achievements. Just then Reggie informed her that they've now got a new singer. She then feels disappointed by this. At this moment, Thelma seems to be sad, as she realizes what she had just lost. Just as she tried to call Otis, she then received a call from Vic, as he informed her that she has been nominated for the Best Music Video Award. While they are at the event, Vic tells Thelma about the paint on her face fading off. Thelma, seeing this, immediately goes to the restroom to fix it, where she is met with Nikki's assistant, who then gave her a picture of her fake horn removing. Thelma asks why she's doing all this to bring her down. Just then she spilled water over Thelma, removing her paint, so while making a video of her. Just as she tried posting her, Thelma begged her to let her disappear, and she also promised not to show her face again. Just as she leaves, Vic then passed beside her without even recognizing her. Just then, Thelma also found out that she won the award and didn't even shows up. Vic Diamond then informed everyone that Thelma is missing, as news spread through the country and people also looking for her. The guy who spilled paint on her earlier then took her for a ride and had some long discussion. Just then, Thelma decided to head back home, and she's met Otis, who has been looking for her. She apologizes for her act, as she planned to come clean, showing everyone her real self. Nikki performed as she tries to claim her crown as the queen of hip-hop. Petty then sneaks Thelma to Nikki's event as they fight off the whole security guard. Just as Nikki's assistant decided to upload Thelma's secrets, her phone then went off. Nikki and her assistant then found Thelma, but Otis, Reggie, and Thelma then escaped. Just as the stage prepared for a grand performance, Thelma then left her band and decided to put on her paint and horn. Everyone is surprised by this, and Thelma explained to them about her dream and how she began the star they knew before breaking off her horn to show them her real self. Many are furious and disappointed. They went on playing and sing their song. However, fortunately for Thelma, everyone loved her and her song. The scene then switched to Nikki also removing her horn. It was at this moment Thelma then knew she made it. The next day, Otis and his best friend play a game together, and they also prepared to make an album. Just then, same thing that happened to Thelma then happened to Otis, as he's also sprayed by paint, thereby changing his look. Thelma laughed very loud.